Does this look like
Cool.
it?
Can you see it,
Yep.
Dave?
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Well, man, I was hoping to get to see your beautiful face today.
I know.
I know.
I
Like I
miss
said,
you, buddy.
There's only one thing we can count on
I
is
even
like technology not throwing up on us. It happens all the time.
I even did, like I said, I even did my hair today, and I haven't had a haircut in 10 weeks. So
I mean, I normally wear hats anyways because I got no hair, but this time like I'm back to the college days where it's starting to curl up in the back, because it's so long.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yep. I got the little Clark. Sometimes I get the little Clark Kent curl in the front too on mine.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I wish I can get something in the front, but it's all gone now.
Well, I guess the only good thing about us not being able to see you is we can start happy hour right now, right, David?
That is true. I've got zero carb Powerade, chips, and salsa. So.
Oh, nice. Chips and salsa. So, hey, Dave, thank you so much for being on here, man. I know you're an awesome participant on the hub, whether you like it or not. I don't know if you knew what you were signing up for when you said you wanted to be a part of it, man. But we totally appreciate your help, and we appreciate you being here, man. There's like 30 people on here, so what I like to do, my first question with anybody that I'm ever interviewing, I'd like to know more about you, or the people like to know more about you. So tell us how you became the executive at United Healthcare. Tell us how you got into the insurance business and how you got to where you're at today.
Sure. First off, thank you guys very much for having me. And yes, I, on the hub, I see some of those things, and sometimes it's hard for me to bite my tongue. Sometimes I'll type some stuff out and then delete it before I post it. But I do, the great thing about it is everyone has a passion on the hub, and they want they're looking for answers, and they're trying to find the best thing for their client. So that's the key thing. So for me, let's see here. I've been at United Healthcare 12 years, a little over 12. And before that, I worked for the largest bank in the world. And I would actually drive, even when I was younger, I would drive by the United Healthcare at that time, Golden Rule building every day. And I had no idea what it was. I just saw this big building, said Golden Rule on it, and I was just curious. It's right next to the interstate. And it was probably 20-some years ago, Pat Rooney, who founded Golden Rule Insurance Company, was running for governor. And he was running on one of the platforms was, I thought, ingenious. I was young at the time, never went to the doctor. It was a medical savings account. It's where, he wanted to, and Golden Rule had it. As an employee, if they put $1,000 in your medical savings account, and if you didn't use it, you got the money. I'm like, what a cool concept. And that's what he wanted to do with the state of Indiana as well. And that was one of his platforms he ran on. He did not win, but that always stuck to me. And that was always inquisitive for me. So Golden Rule, actually, we're the ones who invented health savings accounts, medical savings accounts, in case you didn't know. Our company is one who started that long ago. And so I've always, curious about the company. And then in 2008, when the mortgage crisis happened, a bunch of us lost our jobs in the bank. And so I applied for a job at Golden Rule United Healthcare. Like, I drive by this place all the time. I always wonder what it was. And so I started out in the call center, actually selling as an agent, selling policies over the phone nationwide back in the underwriting times. I did that for about a year and a half. And then I wanted to get back to what my background was, which was account management, managing others, being a leader. And so I transferred over to the broker sales area, working with independent agents. And I did that for about a year and a half. And then there was an opportunity in the Key FMO channel. And I happily went over there and been there ever since. And HST was one of my first accounts that I had. And that was, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What was the what did you do before insurance? Before the bank and before United Healthcare? What was your very first step?
So well, my very first job, I detasseled corn. So for those in the Midwest, you know what that is. That's where you sit in this tractor and you pull tassels off corn in the fields all day long. So that was at age 13. But let's skip forward a little bit. I graduated from Purdue University with a degree in management and worked for a consulting company out in San Diego for a while. Met my now ex-wife and moved back here for her. And then I was in the car business for about 2 years, selling cars and doing finance. And then I worked on the banking side of that. And so I was a buyer, what they call a buyer or an underwriter in the bank for 7 years in the car business, on the auto side. And then I went to work for HSBC, which is Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation. And I managed a call center for 5 years. And then, United Healthcare for 12.
Wow.
So I was at the bank. I was at one bank for 7 years. Chase bought us out, and so that eliminated our position. And I went to HSBC. I was there for 5 years. Mortgage crisis happened in 2008, and then I came to United Healthcare and been there for 12 years.
We're like brothers, man. I was in the car industry too for about 6, 7 years. They failed.
Oh
they
yeah.
failed to tell me that it's a lot of brain damage, so I stuck it out until I couldn't take it anymore. You know?
Well, I about 3 months ago, I helped my daughter. She's 22. I helped her buy her first car. I mean, she did everything, but I just kind of went with her to be a good parent. And, we negotiated and everything else. And I didn't tell the guy at the end that, I basically did your job. I've been in the car business for 9 years. He's like, well, why didn't you say something? I'm like, well, I never liked those people who said, I worked in the car business and I know how this works. I'll just lay low and everything else. So
no alumni discounts?
No. And actually we just bought a car last weekend also. And even there, the finance guy is like, well, I want to, this, and this. I'm like, listen, I need no extended warranty. It's already in factory warranty. I don't need life, A&H. Give me a gap policy. I'm not willing to pay more than $400 for it, and you can make a point on rate. And he kind of looked at me like, okay, you know the lingo. Like, yeah, I did your job before. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, dude, I hated it. I was never the type to like negotiate. And if I'm sure if I told them I was in the car business, they'll want to charge me more just because of it. But anyways. So you got some slides. That's fantastic. I'm sure as we go through the slides, we'll have some questions to ask you. I wrote down a bunch of them. So if you want to get down and dirty, I know a lot of us here are selling United Healthcare. That's probably, our if it's not our top product, it's our second top product, with National General. So let's get into it. Let's start talking about what United Healthcare has to offer, I guess.
Sure. And really the first slide, with everything that's been going on with COVID and just doing an unprecedented time, kind of want to just, kind of highlight, United Healthcare, we're more than just an insurance carrier, right? We're more than just that carrier that the client gives their ID card at a hospital or a doctor. There's a lot more to us than that. If for anybody who's a sports fan or watches golf, this weekend there's a tournament, 4-person tournament. Rory McIlroy, who we actually sponsor, United Healthcare Optum sponsors him. Dustin Johnson, Matthew Wolf, and Ricky Fowler. They're doing a 4-man tournament on Sunday, televised live, and United Health Group is sponsoring it and donating $3 million and to the whichever pair's charity. Okay, which one of them is for doctors and nurses on the front line.
Wow.
So that's one thing. We as you see on this slide here, we've provided over $1.5 billion in assistance, including customer and consumer premium rebates, which are getting ready to start. and that's across the board. Individual, so short-term and TriTerm plans, group, Medicare, Medicaid. So for the month of June, and we don't know the specifics on like how much person each is getting and stuff, but it's going to be somewhere between 5 and 20% a rebate, basically, or credit on their premium for June.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Kind of looking down here, we've expanding housing and health and to homeless support programs for those on Medicaid, providing stable food and baby formula and such. Our core values of integrity, compassion, relationships, innovations, and performance is very key in this time. If you look down at the bottom, we waived all cost sharing, not only for COVID-19 treatment or testing, but also for treatment. So, that's been waived on short-term and TriTerm. We've accelerated nearly $2 billion to healthcare providers to support, so we try to accelerate their reimbursements to keep them fluid in this time. We've invested more than $70 million to help communities in need and protect healthcare workforce. Those are just, these are some of the things that kind of goes unnoticed sometimes, kind of that donor, anonymous donor type thing. We've expanded access to telehealth. So on short-term and TriTerm for the remainder of the year, telehealth on the plan. And so I'm going to talk about telemedicine in a little bit, but telehealth on your plan. Okay. So, and what that means is, for example, I needed to go see my doctor. Okay. And he said, well, we're doing it telemedicine right now. Okay. So he and I hooked up on a video. So for any non-COVID related office visits, if you use your telehealth with United Healthcare, there's no cost sharing. All right. So there's no expenses, no copays, no deductibles for telemedicine through your short-term or TriTerm plan for the remainder of the year.
Wow.
We've converted all of our company cafeterias to provide more than 75,000 meals a week to people in need, and keeping our cafe and team at work as well. So we have obviously a building here in Indianapolis. We have a cafeteria, and amongst all the offices across the country, we convert our cafeterias to help feed everyone. Optum, we, early on, the first test for COVID was something you had to stick in your nose and it went to the back of your head, basically.
I heard.
Very quickly, we invented a new test where it's almost like a Q-tip you stick inside your nose. We invented that. What's not on here also, we've actually partnered with the University of Minnesota and developed a ventilator. So it's very small, and it's really, we're also looking outside the United States, and this ventilator, it could be used. It's basically when someone intubates somebody or sitting there squeezing the bag, to help someone breathe. That's what this little machine does. So it's not as robust as the ventilators we hear on the news and everything else, but it's a good, almost like a mobile ventilator. So we invented that, or helped develop that with the University of Minnesota. We simplified access to care by reducing prior authorization requirements. That's mostly for your group and your Medicare and such, because we don't actually, on TriTerm and short-term, we don't even require pre-authorizations. On the group side, provided a special enrollment for fully insured customers to allow them who they missed their open enrollment window at their company. So we allowed them a special enrollment for that. And then launching free nationwide emotional support to try to manage stress, anxiety caused by COVID. So, again, United Healthcare, we're more than just that ID card and, you say, hey, where's my copay at? We're doing a lot more than that.
That's absolutely amazing. So, David, wasn't one of your executives as well recruited to Washington to be part of a panel for COVID-19?
Well, so Dave Wickman, our CEO of United Health Group, he's in Washington all the time. advising and such. But and I apologize, his name escapes me. But the CEO of Optum, he actually was recruited by the World Health Organization.
Gotcha.
And so he's taking a sabbatical from United Healthcare. So he's now with the WHO, and his main focus is leading a team to get a vaccine for COVID.
Fantastic.
So
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. How amazing.
Dave, correct me if I'm wrong too. One of the other things that stood out that this accelerated nearly $2 billion to healthcare providers to support liquidity needs. But didn't United Healthcare also do that for the insurance agent? Didn't they advance like 3 months worth of renewals for Medicare stuff? Does that ring a bell?
I'm not saying you're wrong. Unfortunately, in my bubble, I don't hear a lot of those things.
I see. Yeah, I think United Healthcare did. Yeah, I think United Healthcare did, and that's amazing because we're fortunate to be insurance agents and we get renewal income, but we also have spouses and that work that have a regular paycheck coming in, and that advance really helped out a lot of agents for sure. They get an advance on renewals, keep our head up above water, and keep moving forward. So thanks for that. That was pretty cool.
Great. So actually, I don't know how I mix up the slides. Actually, go to the third slide. So short term. So this is our state availability on short term. Up to 12 months of coverage. The states in green is because they're on an older version of our short term. So we still have short term in those states, but they're just on an older version. The states in the kind of coral colors, you can get up to 12 months depending on the state regulations. Obviously, Illinois is a 6-month state. Missouri is a 6-month state. But a lot of the other states are 12-month states. So as you can see, our footprint is pretty vast, on short term. And basically, we have short term in the states that allow it. If you look at Colorado, they don't even have short term.
Right.
New Mexico does, but there's some, kind of regulations in there that make it a little bit difficult. Northeast as well. So, and then the previous slide 2, that shows, in the states you'll see there that we offer 2x6s or 2x12s. So what that means is you can, offer your clients up to 24 straight months of coverage, and it only goes through underwriting the first time. So anything that happens during that first policy is covered in year 2. And so, that's helped out tremendously as well as and people say, well, what happens at the end of that? Well, there's other options for them. They can always reapply for another one and go through underwriting. But, who knows what's going to happen 2 years down the road with health insurance. There could be another version of ACA. ACA could go away. Nobody knows, right? So it kind of depends on where the leadership takes us. But what's nice is, throughout this whole thing, and I go back to 2010 when we had underwritten plans, 2012 when ACA came about, we have been very, blessed to be able to pivot to different things.
Mm-hmm.
Not to call out a competitor there by saying pivot, but we've been in a transition, I should say. Whether it be to a fixed benefit plan, a short-term plan, or whatever, we're obviously trying to find other options for clients and citizens to meet their needs for health insurance. Okay, so again, in these, in the states on the right, and even the one on the left of 2x6s, so you can see in Missouri, you can do up to 12 months of coverage. I know it's a big state for a healthcare solutions team. And then, of course, the states on the right, you can do up to 24 months of continuous coverage. And what happens is, as an agent, you're only going to quote one plan. So you're going to quote a 6 or 12-month plan, depending on the state. And then when you, as the agent, click broker assisted app, you'll get a pop-up. And it'll ask the question, do you want to apply for a second term? Or if you send it to the client and they hit apply, they'll get the same pop-up. So you're only going to quote one plan. And then as soon as they apply, a pop-up will ask if they want to apply for a second plan. And when they do that, it tells them the price and everything else of that second term. Okay, so you know what the term is for all 24 months. Obviously, you're going to pay month by month. So, you can cancel at any time. There's no penalty. So we highly recommend, if someone's buying a 12-month plan, to always go with the 24 months. Or if you're buying this in Wyoming, Missouri, and South Dakota, if you're buying that 6-month plan, always go with 12 because there's no risk involved. All right. I would much rather have that safety net saying I've got 2 straight years of coverage. And if something happens and you get a job that has benefit, okay, well, then you can always cancel this plan. And there's no penalty for canceling it.
The only thing is if you're going to purchase a policy, you got to get a minimum of 30-day coverage, right? We can't cancel less than 30. We can't get a 21-day plan or a 25-day plan, anything like that. It's got to be minimum 30 days. But after the 30th day, if we want to cancel on the 35th day or 45th day, we can cancel anytime, right?
That's correct. You can cancel anytime. Now, on these plans, and again, some states have what we call the A plans, and some states have non-A plans. And for those of you who are writing, you know what that means. There's a copay select A or copay select without an A. So our newest generation plans, unlike these 2x12s, you can cancel at any time. However, there's no prorated refund. Okay, so if someone's paid for the entire month of August and they call up on August 5th to cancel, we'll cancel that plan as of their next pay to date.
Oh,
so if they've already paid up to the end of August, yeah.
I see.
So but there's no penalty.
And that's on the new generation plans or on both?
That's on the new generation plans. On the older plans with the A after them, yes, they can cancel. If they cancel on the 12th of the month and they've already paid for the entire month, they do get a prorated refund.
Okay, that's good to know. I apologize. I thought it was across the board, but it's not. Okay, so new generation plans.
No.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And really, when we looked at it, most people were canceling. They knew enough ahead of time to cancel on their next paid to date.
Yeah.
Okay. Most people know. It is very rare that someone says, "Hey, I want to cancel as of today."
Yeah.
So to help save administrative costs, that's why we put that in place. So
yeah, that's fine. That's not a big deal. Even if it did come up, there wasn't a big deal. It's just like, okay, we're covered to our pay to date, and that's it. Then we're not gonna make any more payments. That's easy.
Yep, absolutely. So if we go 2 more slides ahead.
Okay.
So this is this is a little outdated. We actually have Utah on here now, but this is our TriTerm state availability, okay? And so TriTerm is actually a throwback to pre-ACA. These are plans that actually go through medical underwriting, all right? So it's a lot more questions. It's the same plans we had back in 2010, basically. And so, we have 19 states that have approved it. Again, Utah is one of the states as well. And actually Iowa and Utah. And so on that plan, again, it's a 3-year plan. Whatever happens in that first term of the policy is covered in years 2 and 3, but also on our TriTerm, whatever was pre-existing prior to the original effective date is also covered in years 2 and 3. So basically what it means is there's a 12-month waiting period for pre-existing conditions to be covered. Okay.
Does it cover anything for the pre-existing conditions, or would it just be like hospitalizations or a doctor's visit or what?
No, in the first year, it's not going to be covered.
Right.
Okay. But in years 2 and 3, a pre-ex would be covered.
In any
whether it be a doctor visit. Yeah, whether it be a doctor visit. I mean, obviously, if it's a covered issue, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, whether it's a doctor visit, a prescription, a hospital stay. So for example, someone had knee replacement before they got the TriTerm policy. And, we approved them. Well, their knee would not be covered in year 1. But in year 2 and 3, if there's a problem with their knee, it's covered.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that about the TriTerm. So when people are asking us, do we have plans that cover pre-existing conditions? Well, we don't. We have something, but there's a 12-month waiting period.
Correct. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Perfect.
Okay. So the next slide talks about really what we kind of refer to as our secret sauce. Which is our network. And so our United Healthcare, either Choice or Choice Plus network, depending on what state you're in. So first off, the network availability for the providers is exactly the same. So whether you're in a state that has the Choice or in a state that has Choice Plus, your in-network providers are exactly the same. There's no difference to an in-network provider listing, whether it's a Choice or Choice Plus state. The only difference is if a state has the Choice Plus network, that means they can go out of network and still have some coverage. But as you'll see here, we have over 1.2 million providers across the country in our network, over 6,500 hospitals. Okay, and when you look at the hospital network, if you listed out every single hospital in the entire country, whether it be in North Dakota, Florida, New York, California, a list of every hospital, 85% of them are in our network. And this is a network that we own. Okay, we don't lease our network from somebody else. We own our network. And so, when you look at Mayo Clinic, whether it be Minneapolis, Jacksonville, or Phoenix, Mayo Clinic's in network. MD Anderson and all its affiliates in network. Cleveland Clinic in network. Johns Hopkins, Cedar Sinai, all these major hospitals are in, and it's a nationwide network. So even though I live in Indiana, if I want to go to Mayo Clinic in Minneapolis or Jacksonville or Phoenix, I can go. It's a national network. They're in network. I can go there if I want to. And then the next slide kind of dives down a little bit deeper. This is actually, and I did, this is a real claim. All right. This is actually part of my family. So I'm not sharing anything that's it's HIPAA okay, because it's me. This kind of shows you the power of our network. Okay. So that top claim was for some blood work. And as you can see there, the charges were $722. Our network discount, and again, this was in, as you can see, the data service January. So I hadn't met my deductible or anything. United Healthcare, just the strength of our network, knocked off $639 off that bill. Now, granted, I go to LabCorp because it's cheaper to go there. But that kind of shows you the example. The one below there, the bill was $202. I paid $17.58. Again, nothing part of my, United Healthcare didn't pay anything. That was just the advantage of having our network. So when you're looking at plans out there, obviously as an agent and as a consumer, it's easy to compare things like, here's the brochure, here's my benefits, here's my premium. And that's very upfront and in your face, and you can compare those things with other carriers. But some of the hidden things you really can't compare up front is an example like this. Okay, looking at that top bill where I don't know why United Healthcare paid $27 for that bill. I have no idea. I took it. I didn't complain. So let's just add that back in there. So I would have paid $71 for this $722 lab bill. Well, what if I was with a carrier and they gave me a 50% discount off my lab work? Great. Hey, that's still a great bargain, right? Half the price. But then I would have paid $360 for that lab bill instead of $70. So again, there's $300 difference in just one lab bill if that other carrier only has a 50% discount. Well, $300 on one lab bill, that's almost $30 a month in premium that really I saved, right? So even though, and I don't even know what the prices are, but price is king, but let's also look at, oh, hey, this other carrier, they're $20 cheaper than United Healthcare. I'm just throwing that out there. Well, but what kind of benefits am I getting? Is one claim going to eat up all that premium savings for a whole year? Possibility.
I got two questions for you, Dave. So 2 questions.
Sure.
First question on here: the services that you received, these had to be covered services, right? You're not going to get the network discounts if it's not a covered service, correct?
Absolutely correct. Yes. So we actually do reprice all of our bills. However, a provider or a lab or a hospital is not required or contracted to accept the repriced amount for a non-covered service. Okay, so there's nothing obligating them to accept that. If it is covered, then yes, they have, and there's no balance billing.
So everybody on here, I want you to understand what he just said. That sometimes you'll get a bill from United Health, or you'll see an EOB, a client shows you, and it'll show a reprice on that, and then the client still has to pay the full price, and you don't understand why. Well, that's because the United Healthcare is going to reprice it. It's going to show you what the reprice is, but again, like you said, the provider doesn't have to accept that repriced amount if he's not part of the network. And if he doesn't accept it, then it is what it is. The client has to pay the full amount, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then next question for you, Dave. Going back to the network, the Choice Plus network. If we're in an area and it's the Choice Plus network that's available, you said that we can go out of network. I don't remember seeing any out of network like benefits on some of the short-term plans. Help me understand this.
Yeah. So if you live in a state that has a Choice Plus network, that means, again, the same network as Choice, but you're allowed to go out of network. If you do go out of network, there is coverage. Okay. But you have it's a 25% reduction in your benefits. It's a double deductible, and there's no max out of pocket. Okay. So if you hear that, you think, well, hang on here, what am I getting? So you are going to get a negotiated price based off RNC for the services, and you will have a deductible and then co-insurance. You have a double deductible, but at least, if there's a $50,000 bill and you have a $10,000 deductible, after your double deductible, at least you'd be on co-insurance if you go out of network. But again, as you can see, our network is such a vast area, or vast number. I mean, you really got to purposeful. And then let me give you an example. Heard a story about a client who, they needed a procedure done, and there was a certain doctor they wanted to go to, but they weren't in network. And so the customer called up and they were trying to find out, hey, what can we do, blah, blah. And actually the doctor, we rejected them being in network because their mortality rate was higher than average. Okay.
You mean the doctor sucked and like all his patients were dying? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, his success rate and such, was not the best. Okay. And that's why, when you look up a doctor on our network, when you see it, there's two, and they're little heart logos. Okay. And a doctor will have either either no hearts, one heart, or two hearts. And as a code. Okay. And one of the hearts is meant for cost effectiveness. Okay. So we actually rate doctors, hey, our providers, ordering multiple tests maybe unnecessarily, right? Because obviously, they're getting paid, based on claims and such. So we look at cost effectiveness, and then we look at also quality. And I can tell you, my daughter, she has Crohn's, and she needed to see a new GI doctor because she's no longer under 18, and so we started looking up doctors, and I'm like, unless they have both cost and quality, you're not going to see them. Okay, and again, one of the great things about, my mother-in-law had cancer, and so and she's in Florida, and we looked at her oncologist, and I looked her up, and I'm like, okay, she's in network, but she has, nor cost nor quality. And so I called and like, yeah, we don't, she's not highly rated. And so I called my mother-in-law, like, we need to find a new oncologist. Not only is she ordering, maybe tests that are unnecessary or maybe too often, but also the quality. So those are other things when you look up on our network of kind of codes to see what providers to choose.
That's great.
Not saying, again, not saying one with no heart, no quality or whatever isn't good. It's just that there's ones out there who have a better rating, right? Just like, we rate everything. Just because a certain restaurant isn't rated 5-star doesn't mean it's not a great restaurant. It's just it's not 5-star. Same thing with the providers. Just because they don't have quality and care doesn't mean they're not great doctors. It just means that there's some out there that are rated better.
This is good to know, because oftentimes we see those like little hearts or star ratings and we just don't understand what they mean. We see some providers have more and some have less, but us agents, we don't really know what they mean, but now we do. Let me just reiterate, guys, that we have out-of-network benefits for the Choice Plus network, right? But again, it's going to be very hard to be out of network with the Choice, United Healthcare's, 900-pound gorilla network, the Choice network. But if you come across a client that says, listen, I need to see doctors in this remote area or these doctors or whatnot, and you see that they're not in the Choice network, you can say, listen, we in the Choice Plus network, we can say, listen, we can still go with it. You'll be able to see the doctor, but the benefits are going to be 25% less. The deductibles are going to be more. But if you really need to go see them, we have the chance to do so with one of these plans that uses the Choice Plus network. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Where are we at?
Okay. Next slide. So this is our map for Health Protector Guard, which is obviously our fixed benefit plan. It as well has a 12-month waiting period for pre-existing conditions. Okay, so TriTerm has a 12-month waiting period for pre-existing, and Health Protector Guard does as well. The nice thing is Health Protector Guard, you can use it you can pair it up with a short term, you can pair it up with an ACA, group, whatever. It reimburses clients for services rendered. So they go to the doctor, they're going to get paid $100 for going to the doctor, which obviously will help pay that bill. Is it meant to have it so the client has no out-of-pocket expenses? Well, no. I mean, if we did that, the premiums would be so high, no one could afford them. But it is a nice way to help subsidize, the client's out-of-pocket exposure. So just, think about health. And actually, we're going to be launching a new Health Protector Guard plan later this year. We're looking to launch the first state, hopefully in Wisconsin, at the end of August. So,
does the Health Protector Guard coordinate benefits with the short-term plan? Do they work together?
It does. So they do not. So none of our plans coordinate benefits, and that's actually a good thing because Health Protector Guard is going to pay no matter what. Okay, so let's say you're with a short-term plan, and you go to the doctor and the bill's $50. Well, you pay the $50 on your short-term, but then you're going to get reimbursed $100 on your Health Protector Guard plan. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so actually, it's kind of a good thing. So they are two separate things. They're two separate policies and certificate numbers. And no, they don't coordinate. But then that way, the client can say, hey, listen, if I have a short-term plan, I'll file my claim with that, and I'll file my own claim on my Health Protector Guard plan. And that way the money comes straight to me instead of going to the provider.
Talk about filing claims. easy to file claims?
So,
is it a paper application? Is it a portal online somewhere?
Yeah. So if you want the provider to file the claim for you, all you do is show your card. The in-network provider will file that claim. We will process that claim on the Health Protector Guard plan and at our negotiated prices, and then we'll pay the provider what they're owed up to your benefit. So, for example, for a doctor visit, it's $100 reimbursement. And so let's say that doctor bill, let's say we price them at $60. We will pay the doctor the $60 are owed, and then we'll cut a separate check to the client for $40 to have their $100 benefit. Now, if a client is not going in network, then they need to file their own claims. There's actually a form online that they would fill out, and they would mail in the claim form with a copy of the bill showing all the codes, and then we would process that claim and then send the client a check.
What's the turnaround time and all that stuff? Any idea?
Normally less than 2 weeks.
Less than 2 weeks? Okay, cool.
Yep. We process our claims, whether it be Health Protector Guard, short-term or TriTerm. We process our claims on average in 8 business days. Okay, and that's another thing with United Healthcare is you don't have these claims sitting out there for 30, 45 days just to get an answer. Okay, two of my kids have double insurance. So they have a policy under their mom and a policy under me. And since her date of birth is first, her birthday's in January, hers is primary. And so whenever one of my kids' claims gets filed, I know it's going to be 30 days before United Healthcare gets it, because that provider, that carrier, that's what they do. They don't process claims until the last second, 30 days down the road. And then it gets processed, the provider will refile to United Healthcare as secondary insurance, and we're done in a week. And it's like, I wish the other carrier did it just as fast as we did, but they don't. So, which is fine, because, not everybody can pay claims as fast as we do.
And I think, I know that some of the other carriers, they use different TPAs to process claims and do this and that. I would imagine that United Healthcare does everything internally, right?
We do. Yep. All of our claims are, we don't have any TPAs processing our claims.
That's fantastic. That's a big plus, because sometimes when we have issues, we got to go here, then we got to go here, and nobody wants to help out in both directions, right? It's not my problem, and if we have it all in one place, it's simple.
Yeah, and we definitely try not to, do that. It's like, when you walk in a certain retail store and hey, I have a question. Well, that's not my department. We try not to say that at United Healthcare. All right. We try to work together, because for us, the client and the agent, because the agent's my client, we need to find an answer out for them and resolve it. If we can, resolve their situation. And I don't see the passing the buck. Well, go talk to that person. See you later, right?
Before we change slides,
go
back. What were you going to say, David?
Oh, I was going to talk about the next product.
Oh, can I ask two quick questions? Did you cover the rollover doctor visit on this plan? How that works?
I do. I can, yeah. So on Health Protector Guard, you'll purchase either 2, 5, or 10 doctor visits per calendar year. And with our rollover benefits, it says that if I don't use all my doctor visits up, so for example, I buy a plan that has 5 doctor visits, and let's say I go to the doctor twice this year, then I can roll the other 3 over. So next year I have 8. Now the fine print on that is, if I buy a plan in the last half of the calendar year, I can't roll my visits over right away. We don't want somebody buying 5 visits in October and, well, hey, I only went to the doctor once, I get 9 visits next year. So as long as you buy it with an effective date prior to July 1st, then you can roll your unused doctor visits over to the next year. You can keep on doing that until you have 5 extra visits in your bank. And then after that, the max you can have in your rollover bank is 5.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
And real quick too, are there any plans for United to come out with products similar to this, but for the over 65 market?
So we do have some SureBridge products, which we own SureBridge as well. And I know they're all, they have some like a hospital-wise plan and a cancer-wise plan for the over 65-year-olds. And we're always looking to try to, get more plans to obviously reach out to a larger population. So.
Thanks.
Okay. So Health ESU. So this is our teledoc. Again, this is different than what I talked about at the beginning, where free telemedicine visits amongst your short-term and TriTerm plan for non-COVID illnesses. This is a separate product. So Health ESU is our standalone telemedicine product. It's $20 a month. It's $20 whether there's an individual in a policy or a family of 10. It's still $20. The nice thing is, because people say, well, hey, do I really need this? Because if you're giving me free telemedicine on my short term, why do I need this? Well, here's why. If I'm not feeling good, I simply go to the app, or I can go online and I say I need to talk to a doctor. And the average callback time right now is about 13 minutes. Okay, so a board certified doctor is going to call me back, and we're going to do a FaceTime visit if I have a video, a smartphone or a laptop that has a camera. I can do a video call. Versus, hey, I have, I can do telemedicine with my doctor. Hey, call your doctor. Your first appointment's probably going to be in 3 or 4 days at the earliest, right?
Yep.
Where on this, with the app, yes, it's $20 a month, but you get unlimited, no additional cost, and it's instantaneous. Average callback time being 13 minutes. It takes you longer to get to the urgent care and pack your kids up and everything else. And the great thing too is this is a standalone product. Okay, so if let's say their short-term plan ends, or their health, or they need to cancel their health protector guard. They bought this stays in place. They can use this whether it's a group policy, or no coverage at all. They don't have any other insurance and they can't afford anything else. They can use it with ACA. So that way, they don't have to worry about, packing the kids up or going to the doctor and such. They can just do it from the comfort of their home. The next slide.
Let me ask you, Dave, let me ask you one thing.
Yep, go ahead.
You had mentioned something. You had said that the telemedicine services we get with short term is different than the telemedicine we get with Health ESU, right?
Right. So it's the same process.
I was not aware that short term had telemedicine services. They have telemedicine services?
Well, so meaning this, okay? No, it does not have like what you think like Health ESU telemedicine.
Okay.
But since COVID came out, more and more providers are saying, even my doctor, 1 week he's in the office, and the next week all of his visits are telemedicine. Okay.
Okay.
So, if you're, if you need to go see your doctor because, hey, I've got this pain or whatever, and your doctor might say, well, let's do a telemedicine visit. So it's my doctor, where normally I would go into the doctor, right? I make an appointment, I go into my doctor, but they might say, you know what, we're going to do a telemedicine. And by the way, your appointment is a week from Thursday. Okay. So we have made, because of COVID, we have made those, if a doctor says, no, I don't want you to come in the office, let's do a telemedicine visit, then those are no cost. But that's different than like the Health ESU product, which is, if I need a doctor, I hit the button and a board certified doctor is going to call me back in on average 13 minutes. Two different things.
I see. So somebody has a question on here that says, is the teledoc service, the telemedicine, I would imagine Health ESU, provide services in different languages?
Yes. They do.
Okay. And client has questions on no online access. And when a client calls, the recording is telling them to go to the website for access. I'm not sure what that means, but if you can clarify.
I actually haven't called. So on this, I actually use the app, and I've never had an issue. Not to say that are there peak times in these days? Yes, I'm sure there are. But basically, what happens is, you can either call in for someone who doesn't have a smartphone or a laptop or an iPad. You can call in, or you can just hit the app, and actually what happens is they call you back. So I'm not sure what the question was, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep them moving.
So 70% of the time someone goes to the emergency room or urgent care, it's for things that can be handled on the app. Okay. Again, because I've used it many, many times. Things like the flu, ear infection, strep throat, pink eye, allergies. Those are things that can be handled with a telemedicine visit instead of actually having to go into urgent care. And then they can even call on prescriptions as well. So the next slide will kind of show you part of that, where 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. There's no time limits for visits. They can diagnose, treat, and prescribe medications for you. They're licensed and they reside in your state. So one time I used this, and I was in Florida, and so I had a sinus infection. I knew what I had, but I needed medicine, and so I hit the app. Doctor calls me, and the first thing he says is, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in Florida," and he goes, "Okay, I'm just double checking because your profile says you live in Indiana, your phone number says you live in Indiana," and he goes, "I'm not board certified in Indiana, so I need to make sure where you are." And I said, "Yep, I'm in Florida." I just turned my phone around, showed him a palm tree, and I said, "We don't have these in Indiana." And so he said, "Okay." And so it gave me the peace of mind that this doctor is double checking to make sure that, hang on here, I'm not board certified in Indiana. You can't be in Indiana, right? And you can see here, on average, the doctors calling you back are on average board certified with 20 years of experience.
I'll tell you two personal experiences I've had with the telemedicine service. My daughter was sick one night, and it was late at night. We're coming home at like 10:30 at night. She has a sore throat. We're like, let's try this telemedicine service out. We get a hold of a doctor. The doctor says, take a picture of your daughter's sore throat and send it to me. So we took the picture. The doctor said, no, I need to see more clear. I need you to take a picture of the back of the throat. So we got a better picture, and she's like, okay, I don't see any kind of infection or bacteria. So if she starts coughing the next day, it's a virus, and it's going to go away in 24 hours. And sure enough, it went away in 24 hours. And then the next time we used telemedicine service, she had like a little rash on her shoulder. We're like, well, if we go to the dermatologist, it's going to cost us a little arm and a leg, So why don't we try this telemedicine service? And sure enough, we talked to a doctor, and the doctor knew exactly what it was. And an hour later, we were picking up some cream at the pharmacy, and it worked great. And we didn't have to pay anything for that service. So I think it's fantastic.
So that's actually a great transition, Carlos. And before I get that transition, so let me tell you, last year in Jamaica at the HST trip, sitting in the pool and talking to an agent, and I apologize, I don't remember the agent's name, but he and his wife were there, and we were talking, and he was a new agent. I think he got a wild card invitation and such, and we were kind of talking, I was talking about health issue, and he didn't know what it was. And he himself, wife, 3 kids, they didn't have insurance. And she said, I just took one of our kids to urgent care, and it cost me $220.
Oh.
And I had to pick all the kids up. I'm like, before you leave here, you need to write yourself your own healthy issue. For $240 a year, you can have unlimited, no-cost doctor visits.
Yeah.
Right? And so, just another example there. But to kind of transition to what you were talking about, on the next slide, two of the added benefits to the Healthiest You product is, number one, behavioral health. So behavioral health is extra. Now, you don't pay extra by the month, but you pay if you use it.
Okay.
So this is where you can see a psychiatrist for a $200 initial visit and then $95 for every ongoing visit. And then for a psychologist or a therapist, it's $85 per visit. And it doesn't matter if it's a pre-existing condition. I mean, when you see a psychologist or psychiatrist, it's not like they're checking your stomach for lumps and stuff like that. I mean, they're talking to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why not just do it over the phone? And if you build that rapport with that certain therapist, you can actually schedule appointments ongoing with that same therapist.
Oh, that is
so again, yeah, it's a little extra money, but if you don't use it, you don't pay the extra money. Okay.
These rates here are like ACA rates anyways. You're getting an ACA policy that has, $85, $100 to see a specialist as well. So you can put this on here.
Yeah.
And who cares about your pre-existing conditions? You need to get your Adderall. Just get Healthy as You. Talk to your psychiatrist. Pay a co-payment and get prescribed the medication. Right? Is that how it goes?
Yep. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep. And then the next slide kind of relates to what Carlos was talking about. We have dermatology as well. Now, granted, if the doctor just kind of, hey, I kind of know, then maybe you don't need a dermatology. But again, you only pay for this if you use it, and it's $75 a visit. And what you actually do is you're gonna you go to your app, as you can see there. What do you need? Medical, behavioral health, or dermatology. You actually take a picture of the if it's a mole or a skin tag or a rash, you take a picture of it and you download it. And then within 48 hours, a dermatologist will call you back after reviewing your pictures and could, prescribe and treat you. And then they'll follow up with you a week later just to see how things are going. So on top of just normal telemedicine, it does have behavioral health and dermatology built in a plan as well.
Like the behavioral health, can you see the same dermatologist over and over again if you like? Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's awesome.
And that's all I've got, folks.
I think this is fantastic, man. There's a lot of things I didn't know about, the short term and the telemedicine stuff that I just didn't know. This is fantastic. I totally appreciate it. Does anybody have any questions for Dave? I know we're past the hour. We had a little hiccup at the beginning, but let me see here. Would those medical records be viewed as pre-existing conditions?
I guess with what medical records?
Yeah. Do you mean like the services they receive through the telemedicine services? I would imagine yes, right? Dave? So if they get services through the teledoc, through Healthy as You, that's obviously going to get their medical records just like anything else and would be considered a pre-existing condition later on.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I really don't, because, you think about it, if I'm seeing a doctor on the phone, and I had a sinus infection, what medical records is he going to have to attach that to? And I don't know. There might be some way he can do it. I don't know.
Okay. Does United Healthcare have some sort of like patient advocate program where maybe people need help with renegotiating some bills or anything like that? Is that something that's available with United Healthcare?
So on the Health Protector Guard plan, yes, we do. It's called I believe it's called Make Sense. It's something sense. I believe it's Make Sense. So on short term and TriTerm, we have a contract, okay, with every provider. So those prices are set in stone. But obviously on the Health Protector Guard on fixed benefit plan, there's obviously a little bit different situation there. So we do have a program to help as an advocate for clients, and they can negotiate the bill lower, and they can actually also set up a payment plan between the provider and the client. And so let's say the bill's $20,000 and negotiate it down to 10, and they set up a payment plan. Well, then that's what it is. The provider can't come after the customer later on for the extra $10,000. And so yeah, we do have one on Health Protector Guard.
Okay. Another question I had for you. Some states, do any of the plans do preventative services?
Yes. So, yep. So short-term, TriTerm, and Health Protector Guard all have wellness benefits. On Health Protector Guard, you're going to get reimbursed $200 to $300 depending on what plan you choose. On TriTerm, there's a 6-month waiting period for wellness, and then depending on which plan you have is how your benefits are. And then on short-term, there are wellness benefits, no waiting period on the short-term wellness benefits. Just your benefits vary state by state.
Okay. Do you know anything about the extra, like, women covered services in the state of Illinois? Somebody told me today that there was some extra wellness benefits for women in the state of Illinois. Is that true? Are you aware of these?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
I would suggest to look at the Illinois brochure, because if there's any state mandates, state requirements specifically for Illinois, it would be in there.
Okay. Some of the short-term medical products have a prescription drug benefit. The way the prescription drug benefit works, it's a reimbursement, right? We have to pay up front, and then we send in the claim forms, and then they reimburse us like the 10 or 20 bucks, whatever it is, right?
Well, so no. So on short term, there's no. So on short term, if it has prescription benefits, you get to negotiate a contract price at the point of service at the pharmacy, okay? And then you need to submit your prescription claims so we can count that towards your deductible and co-insurance, okay? Now, I would suggest doing it every time, maybe once a month you submit them, because, if I get $40 a month in prescriptions, that's $480. If I have a $5,000 deductible, it's great, but it's not going to help me meet my, I'm not going to meet my deductible just on my prescription.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the reimbursements, that's on Health Protector Guard. So on Health Protector Guard, some of the plans do reimburse the client $10, $20, or $50 for their prescriptions, depending on if it's a generic or a brand name drug.
Okay.
But there's still discounted. There's discounts for it as well, right? There's a negotiated rate for that.
Correct. On Health Protector Guard, they get a discount card. All plans on Health Protector Guard get a discount card, and then on top of that, they can get reimbursed on certain plans.
Okay. One last United Healthcare question from me. On some of the accident plans, it comes with hospital sickness, right? To me, that's like a broad term, like if hospital sickness. Does that mean anything? Like if I fall ill in the hospital, if I'm sick and I fall ill in the hospital, am I going to get that benefit, or are certain sicknesses not covered?
Now, because you mentioned an accident plan and then you mentioned sickness. So
yeah, so like on the accident like expense card or something, one of the lines is a hospital sickness benefit, like $2,500.
That's yes. So that is that's on our accident pro gap plan.
Okay. And what is considered a hospital sickness?
So you're admitted to the hospital for an illness.
Illness. Okay.
Illness. Yep.
Okay. Can David clarify on hospital admission or under observation? Those are two totally different things, right? If you're in there for observation, that's not the same thing as a hospital admission, right?
That's correct. That's correct. Now, I will tell you, on our next version of Health Protector Guard, we are looking to have an observation benefit. But again, we're still structuring that out. But yes, so like on Health Protector Guard, where you get so much reimbursements per day in the hospital, that's for admission. And typically we don't see the observation classification as much on the under 65 side as we do on Medicare.
I see. Yeah, it happens a lot on the Medicare side for sure.
Yeah, sure does. Yeah.
Man, this has been fantastic. I've learned a lot, and I hope everybody on here has learned just as much as I have. I'm going to post this on the hub soon. If you're not selling United Healthcare, then you got to reach out to somebody who can help you, who can get you contracted. If you want to reach out to me, great, fantastic. If you don't, then you can contact Dave Maxwell directly or contact United Healthcare directly and get contracted, I would imagine. Right, Dave?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, you caught me in the middle of drinking Powerade.
That's okay. What flavor is it?
It is the mixed berry. That's my go-to.
Oh, nice. Let me ask you one last.
Powerade Zero, no carbs.
Let me ask you one last fun question here, Dave. If you had a yacht, what would you call it? What would be the name of your yacht?
If I go for it, and the word "for" would be like in golf, FORE.
Ah, there you go. That's amazing. That's fantastic. Man, I wish I knew more about golf, man, but I don't. But I'm gonna get there with it. I might watch that tournament you just mentioned that United Healthcare was sponsoring. Is it going to be like on ESPN?
Yep, it'll be on NBC. I think it's covered on like 5 different stations. So NBC Sports, I think even Golf Channel, and I think also ESPN.
And when is it going to be on?
Sunday.
You're not playing in it, David? That I'm shocked.
No. Yeah. Although, to tell you what, so again, we have early on when we started working from home, we had daily web calls, basically, with our CEO, Dave Wickman, CEO of United Health Group. And in the last couple of weeks, they've gone to twice a week instead of every day. But Rory actually joined one of our calls about a week and a half ago. So since we sponsor him on the PGA Tour, and he's actually an ambassador with Optum and the United Health Group, he actually was on one of our web conference calls. And it's funny, he was getting a haircut today, so he took his hat off, and I mean his hair is like 8 inches long, so it's kind of funny.
That's it. What did he say when he was on the call? Was it like just a hello, hi, bye, or was it like a motivational speech? What?
Well, I mean, basically talking about, so Rory's actually the one who came up with the idea for this tournament this weekend. Again, there's 4 players playing and a lot of money. I believe Farm Bureau is also helping sponsor, but TaylorMade Golf Equipment is hosting it, and it's supported by United Health Group. And it was actually Rory's idea to do this to raise money for the providers out there, the nurses and such, who's been working tirelessly on the front lines. And it was actually Rory's idea. And since he's an ambassador of United Health Group and Optum, obviously it was a great fit. So, but yeah, just talking about that and what he's been doing, since everyone's been quarantined and such. And he's got a podcast he does, which I follow him on that as well. But yeah, just talking about how he's just trying to, not that we don't know all the work that nurses and doctors are doing across the country, but just another way to help support them.
That's fantastic. Hey man, well, I know you're not doing as much work as the nurses and doctors out there, but it's really close what you're doing on the hub. So we really appreciate all the help and support, and we love having you on here, man. We appreciate your time very, very much, very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, everybody.
All right, thanks, Dave. We'll talk to you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care, guys.
Okay.
Bye-bye.